How in the fucking hell are you still alive? Seriously, 2 years ago, I was reading your eulogy. Yet somehow that not only spawned this goddamn channel, but you managed to survive 2 years of football purgatory to come out clean on the other side. I don't know if I should be impressed or genuinely concerned about your ability to survive like a cockroach in a nuclear bomb blast, but fuck it, you're here now after poaching the Mountain West, the Sun Belt, and wait a goddamn minute, what the fuck are you doing here, Gonzaga? You haven't played football since Japan fucked with our boats! Get out of my video! Anyways, the Pac-12, against all logic, has lived to fight again. It's not ever gonna be the way it was, but Pac-12 After Dark will live once more. With an all-new cast of wacky characters, we will now go over all of them, but first I gotta pay the bills, so stand by.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Today's video is proudly sponsored by PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. And since we're talking about the Pac-12, a conference that got pronounced dead, spent 2 years wandering around as a two-team zombie, and then somehow crawled out of the grave with a brand new roster of schools, PrizePicks fits pretty damn well. PrizePicks isn't just another sports betting app, it's a daily fantasy sports app. And getting started is stupid simple. Pick more or less on a few players and build your lineup. You can pick individual player stats like yards, points, strikeouts, touchdowns, and more. You can also make team picks, including who wins and what the point spread might look like. If you're trying to figure out who the hell's winning the new Pac-12, good luck. Well, Boise State thinks it owns the place already. Fresno State wants to beat everybody to death with the run game. San Diego State brought back the Aztec Blood Gods, and half the rest of the conference just met each other 5 minutes ago. You can even pick the total points scored in the game, which might be useful when one of these rebuilt rosters decides defense is something they'll install during the next transfer window. For me, it's what makes PrizePicks fun. I'm going to have to watch these games. I have to dig through the stats, and I'm trying to predict what the hell this Frankenstein conference is going to look like. I might as well build a lineup around it and have a little bit of fun. So much so, guess what? Yeah, I seriously picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. I know I told you this already, but I'm dead serious. I think this is the year. PrizePicks is now available in most of the United States, including California, Florida, and Texas. And right now, play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in bonus lineups if you win. That's right, PrizePicks is changing up their offer. So lock in, build that first lineup, and win the goddamn thing. Use code HMA when you sign up to get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 or more lineup. Click the link in the description and join America's #1 sports picks app, PrizePicks. And as always, play responsibly, you heathens.
We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
I always knew you fuckers would be invited to the Pac-12 eventually. Sure, it's nothing more than a Mountain West Splinter League these days with a few side characters, but you've finally made it here. But let's be honest, in the 30 years you've been in the FBS, you have a combined 17 conference titles across 3 different conferences. That is a staggering amount of success for any program, much less a group of 6-1. Because of this, you are now immediately expected to win the Pac-12 title in year 1, regardless of whatever bullshit might come your way. Last year, you managed to three-peat as Mountain West Conference title winners before fucking off despite losing Ashton Genty. Quarterback Maddox Madsen is back for another ride, and will be behind a stout offensive line with 3 starters back. Both Dylan Riley and Syer Gaines are back at running back to hopefully make up for a wide receiver room that was destroyed with Latrell Caples and Chase Penry running out of eligibility, and Chris Marshall running to Arkansas. It's not going to mean shit if Madsen can't hit the targets either. Despite the praise he gets, it cannot be denied that he kind of regressed last year. The defense also gets a ton of returning talent coming back, but the linebacker core is making people question things. The opener is a trip to Eugene to take on the Ducks of Oregon, and you have non-cons against Western Michigan and Memphis. It's not going to be an easy ride, and it's going to be very difficult to make it back to the playoffs again, but regardless, you have 3 decades of proving that no matter what conference you're in, you find a way to add more hardware to the trophy room. Colorado State is starting over. Again. The Rams went 2-10 last year, fired Jay Norvell, hired Jim Mora, joined the new Pac-12, and basically tore everything down to the studs. Welcome to Extreme Makeover, College Football Edition, Rams. Jim Mora takes over a program that has had 7 losing seasons in the last 8 years. And Despite acting like they're supposed to be a football power, they became a bigger embarrassment than the prime Buffaloes in Boulder. Mora has one job: fix it fast. He began by attacking the transfer portal by bringing in several players who already knew Mora's system. The headline addition is former Oklahoma State quarterback House Hengy, who has the ability to give this offense a needed boost. Tight end Juice Vereen also figures to be one of the best offensive weapons they have, but the biggest issue here is that nobody knows how quickly this is all going to work out, or if it will at all. There is a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, a pile of transfers, a brand new conference, and an entirely different culture being installed. The schedule doesn't exactly do them any favors either. Their first Pac-12 season is loaded with opponents to prove they're legitimate, but it's also loaded with chances to get kicked in the balls if this roster doesn't come together quickly. Look, I like Jim Mora. The guy's won everywhere he's been, and he inherited a program that desperately needed someone like him, but it's year one. It's going to be a painful year. It should be noticeably better than last year's 2-10 disaster, but how much is something not even PrizePicks would put odds on. If I have to pick one team that's ready to walk into the new Pac-12 and immediately start a bar fight, it's Fresno State. Seriously, this program is always acting like they're fresh out of fucks to give. Matt Entz enters year 2 after going 9-4, and the Bulldogs have won 9 or more games in 4 of the last 5 seasons. This ain't some Cinderella story trying to figure things out. This is a program that's expecting to compete for a conference championship immediately. I like these guys for one reason and one reason only. They know exactly who they are. They are going to run the ball up your candy ass with a smile and dare you to stop them. You can thank the Cerberus of Fresno State in Rayshawn Luke, Bryson Donaldson, and Brandon Ramirez. They even added Tariq Thomas from Bucknell because fuck you. The quarterback situation is nothing to sleep on as Christian Martin steps in after E.J. Warner's departure, and the expectation for him is to not fuck it all up. Hit a check down when the defense sends the house. That's it. Defensively, these dudes were straight nasty last year. Second in the country against the pass. 26 takeaways. They made life miserable for opposing offenses all season. They probably won't be as foolproof this year with both of their starting cornerbacks gone, and they don't have much in edge rushers. The schedule also got a whole lot tougher as you've got USC, Washington State, Boise State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Texas State all waiting for you. I don't know if they're the favorite to win the Pac-12, but I know one thing: nobody will love playing Fresno State. If the Bulldogs walk into the new Pac-12 and start bullying people, just don't act surprised. They're just finally kicking in the door they've been begging to open for years. Oregon State got absolutely fucked by conference realignment. After 2 years as a de facto independent team while getting embarrassed everywhere they went, Jamarcus Shepard comes in to try and rebuild this broken dam of a program. Yeah, you went 2-10 last year, but the good news is there's nowhere to go but up. Hopefully. Coach Shepard landed his guy at quarterback in Malik Murphy. As long as Murphy can finally play up to his potential, this offense is going to look a whole lot better than the train wreck that it has been. Shepard also completely rebuilt the wide receiver room through the portal with names like Aaron Butler and Aaron Hampton. The playmakers are there. But what about the blocking? The offensive line was rough last year, and now that's also entirely new. Chemistry isn't built overnight, especially when you're replacing basically everybody. On defense, the front four also needs work. Oregon State couldn't buy pressure or turnovers. That was fine when your only conference game was Wazoo, but not with the new Pac-12. The good news is this team was better than its 2-10 record suggests. They lost multiple close games and just couldn't finish drives. 11 empty red zone trips last season is the kind of stat that makes coaches wake up in cold sweats. It's going to be another tough season without a doubt. Rebuilding after your conference got nuked isn't something you fix in one recruitment cycle, but the tools are there to get it back on track in Beaverland.
Kalima! Kalima! Kalima!
San Diego State finally made it to the Pac-12 after teasing a move to the Pacific just before everything went tits up in 2024. Frankly, I would have loved seeing what the old Pac-12 would have panned out with the addition of the Aztecs. Sean Lewis has them white hot after a 9-4 season that had me thinking they were a dark horse to make the playoffs late. While last year's defense carried their asses, this year the offense will probably take center stage. The receiving core is finally healthy. The backfield is loaded, and this could be one of the better rushing attacks in the conference. The big question, can the defense reload? They lost just about every major playmaker from a unit that dominated last season. Edge rusher Brady Nassar is back, thankfully, but replacing that much production isn't something you do overnight. The schedule isn't exactly friendly either. Trips to UCLA, Toledo, Oregon State, and Boise State, plus home games against Wazoo and Fresno means there aren't many weekends off. San Diego State are likely going to be in the hunt for a conference title down the stretch if everything pans out. They have that tough physical identity the Aztecs are known for, and they're absolutely capable of making noise. Defense may not be what it once was, but if the offense takes the step forward everyone expects, the Aztecs are going to be right back where they belong, sacrificing the heart of their enemies to the fucking blood gods after brutally murdering them in sunny fucking San Diego. Kalima! 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 GJ Kinney has completely changed the fucking game with this program. Before he got there, Texas State had 0 bowl appearances in school history and were seen as a total afterthought. Now, they have won 3 straight bowl games and are making the jump to the Pac-12. That's one hell of a turnaround, but if you ask the fans and administrators, this is where they always expected to be at. The university isn't some small rinky-dink bullshit program in the middle of nowhere. It is a behemoth with 40,000 students smack dab in between Austin and San Antonio. And if there's one thing these people would love to do, it's show those orange bastards up north and the other orange bastards down south they can hang with the best of the best. What's funny is they actually turned down an offer from the Mountain West thinking something better would eventually come along. And this is what they got. If you ask me, I respect the hell out of them for it. The problem is that reality is about to hit them in the head with a brick. First, the good news. Brad Jackson is back after throwing for over 3,200 yards, completing 71% of his passes and adding 17 rushing touchdowns. That's what most teams would call a major fucking problem to defend against. He also gets his leading target back in Bo Sparks. Plus, Mississippi State transferred Davion Jackson. Now the problems. Losing center Brock Riker to Penn State hurts. The left side of the offensive line is relying on transfers, and the Bobcats have to replace top rusher Lincoln Pear. Then there's, of course, the elephant in the room. The Pac-12 is not the Sun Belt. This is a whole different animal. Texas State has the offense to hang around, but now they have to prove it against better competition every single week. They won't be a pushover and should be able to put up a lot of points, but unlike last year in the Pac-12, which was just Wazoo and one really bad Oregon State with a schedule agreement with the Mountain West, it's not as simple to do as you might think. This team is exactly what you'd expect. They're going to score points. They're also going to give up a fuck ton of them. Utah State went 6-7 last year, and the offense should be just okay again. McKay Hillstead likely will take over at quarterback, and Javen Jacobs is ready for a bigger role at running back. The Aggies loaded up on the portal receivers after losing Braden Pagan. If the deep passing game continues to work as planned, they'll be dangerous. The issue, however, is that fucking defense. Again! Bronco Mendenhall's last 3 defensive units have finished near the bottom of their conference, and last year's Utah State squad was dead last in the Mountain West. They gave up over 440 yards per game, couldn't find their way off the field as they were given directions, and forced just 7 fumbles all season. That's not going to cut it in the Pac-12 or, frankly, pretty much any other conference. The question is simple. Can the defense be average? Not elite, not great, just average. Because if it isn't, the Aggies are going to spend another season asking their offense to score 40 points every goddamn Saturday, and that's a miserable way to live. Wazoo is back in a real conference. Now comes the hard part. Kirby Moore takes over after 2 years of Pac-2 purgatory, and while this feels like a rebuild, the pressure is actually on them in Pullman to compete right away. Expectations haven't changed one bit. The offense should be fun to watch as Caden Pinnock, the UC Davis transfer, is expected to step in at quarterback to do what Moore's offenses have always liked to do, air it out. The good news is he won't have to do it alone. Leading rusher Kirby Voorhees is back, and the offensive line returns enough experience to be solid. The concerns are simple. Everything else is new. New coach, new system, portal additions everywhere. The receiving room has that new paint smell on the walls, and the defense is basically starting from scratch. Talent is there, sure, but chemistry isn't something you buy in the transfer portal. Then there's the schedule. Washington, Kansas State, Arizona, all within the first 4 games. At the actual conference schedule you finally have, and this could end up being a shit show if you don't come out swinging. I think Wazoo will be competitive before the end of the year, but this team will need a lot of time to get everything up and running the way they want. Kirby Moore gets this thing rolling, the Cougars could be an issue in the next year or two. But this year, might as well fly old Crimson at half staff. Pretty simple pick for me. I got Boise State winning the title over Fresno State. The more things in the Pac-12 change, the more certain narratives stay the same. Boise being the best of the West when it comes to the group of 6. Good Lord, imagine if they beat Oregon in the memes we will feast on.
Getting back to what I learned.